Hello, everyone. No matter where you are in the world, welcome to Triple Threat. I hope you're safe. I hope you're healthy. I'm Johnny LaQuasto. And if you're checking this out for the first time, Triple Threat's a show where I bring together a collection of very talented, creative individuals, and we have a great conversation. They tell some stories. We have some laughs. And we all disguise it as a roundtable debate game show that may or may not have a winner. We're just trying to entertain you during this quarantine. And it's all for a good cause as well. Every single week, we like to donate to a different charity. Last week was directrelief.org, and tonight's going to be Regular Hero. So if you go to streamlabs.com/Johnny LaQuasto, 100% of the proceeds will go to Regular Hero. I've worked with them for a number of years. They help families in need, whether it be financial hardship or going through some health issues. And if you happen to go to Amazon last week and saw the brand new show, Regular Heroes, they're actually the organization behind it. It's hosted by Alicia Keys. It is heartfelt. It will make you cry in all the best ways possible. So Regular Hero, an amazing organization. If you could donate, that's awesome. But with that said, what else? Oh, yeah, click the thumbs up if you could. Trying to build the show, trying to build the whole channel if we can. But without further ado, I want to get to our very first guest. He is the winner of the largest battle royal in WWE history. You've also seen him on NXT, on 205 Live. And for one night, one magical night, him and I were broadcast partners. I know him as Mansoor Abdulaziz Muhammad Abdulaziz Al-Shahil, but the world knows him as Mansoor. What's up, buddy?
What's going on, Johnny boy? How are you?
I like the wink in the gun. I appreciate that.
That's what I did for our one night only announcing of 205 Live, and it was quite the hit.
You were quite the hit the entire
night.
Night.
Stop. Oh, stop.
Dude, it was
Look, my announcing career is over. I went out on a high note. Oh, look at that! What? Oh,
what a night it was.
This company.
You pretty much did everything but call me a boomer that night. It was a lot of fun.
I came very close.
Yeah. You can go ahead and say that we're running a couple minutes behind because I did everything but click the go live button.
So we basically did the show for about 9 minutes before John realized that, in fact, we were broadcasting to absolutely no one.
And luckily it was you that told me because you live stream all the time.
I'm going to do what I should have done a long time ago, John. John, you boomer. Learn how to use your own goddamn streaming service.
Between you and Brennan Williams, that's a word that I love so much. And I appreciate it. How's the quarantine been going for you?
It's good. Like we discussed earlier,
yeah.
I have been working on my home gym. I have a yoga mat that I put in my living room.
And that's the whole gym.
That's the whole gym. And I recently got a barbell and some plates. And I work out while watching old episodes of SmackDown from 2001 when I was 6 years old.
That's a pretty solid workout plan every day, I'd say.
Yeah, it's good motivation to see the glistening muscles of Billy and Chuck.
What a great combination they were.
Indeed.
In more ways than one. Well, I'm glad to have you, buddy. It's great to see you as always. Our next guest, I met this guy, I think over a decade ago on the Orange County comedy scene. But since then, he's been a mainstay on the NFL Network. And you'd be hard-pressed to find a more creative, more entertaining individual in the world of sports. And he's a long-suffering Chicago Bears fan, Mr. Adam Rank.
What's up, Johnny? Thank you so much for having me. I haven't been this nervous for an appearance since we were doing the Ultimate Laugh Down with Bill Word at some fish house in the Long Beach Marina. And we were standing there pulling numbers to see who was going to go first. And you would hope that you didn't have to follow Grant Cotter or Kayvon or somebody like that. But unfortunately, that's the anxiety that I'm working with right now.
I believe we were in front of, 27, 28 strong that night.
But Casey Greek, who's watching the show right now, was also in the audience that night. So there's a little bit of a crossover.
Yeah. What year was that? 08, 09? I don't even remember.
Oh, my gosh. I don't even want to think because you look back at that and I think it was the 06 year, as a matter of fact. It's actually been that long, but it's been a grind, and it's been a long journey to the middle for me. So I'm happy to be here.
It's been fun to watch that journey. So luckily, football has kept us entertained during this whole quarantine. How's it going at the NFL Network? Obviously, you're working from home, but nothing has really been put on hold, it looks like.
No, and that's been one of the more interesting things that we haven't lost any games yet. We've still been able to have the draft. Unfortunately, it wasn't the pomp and circumstance of having a draft in Las Vegas. No, I haven't been able to don any outfits like that and go make a fool out of myself on national television, but we still had free agency. We recently released the schedule for the upcoming season. And I know that we're taking a risk by doing that. But one of the things the NFL wanted to do is just say, look, we want to approach it like there's going to be a season. Obviously, we will be leaning on the advice of the medical professionals and on science, and they will dictate when we're going to be able to open the season. But for right now, we're going to go forward with it. I just did my schedule predictions. I know a lot of people celebrated me last year because I nailed that 49ers pick. The predictions will be coming out it drops soon as the non-boomer. I know you don't understand that terminology because you're a boomer, but It's dropping soon.
As the kids say.
Hello, fellow young people.
I enjoy the reactions you get from Twitter just by saying things that are almost factual. Like you put out a tweet the other day that said Jerry Rice is the greatest wide receiver of all time. I don't know who in their right mind would disagree, but I was proven wrong by Twitter.
Everybody wants to disagree. They will find any player. You could have the most banal comment. Hey, Tom Brady won 6 Super Bowls. No, he didn't. Like, you can't argue against the fact. What are you doing? And then once they get frustrated, they're like, aren't you the guy who said the 49ers were going to win 3? Yeah, okay, yeah, I got that wrong. I get it. But that's the one thing. That's the way Twitter works now. Just throw out a banal comment and see everybody get bent out of shape over it.
At least you know how to admit you're wrong. You do it in entertaining ways.
I try to. Why? I understand. Like, you see people who like to avoid it and they try to excuse it or anything like that. Like, I was wrong. There's no getting around that. There's video evidence of it. And unlike, some elected officials, I can't just walk away from it. So you meet it head on and you do what you got to do.
Absolutely. Well, speaking of that, we're going to go on to our final guest. This guy's been releasing amazing music since 2006. He's prolific. He is nonstop. He's a creative wizard. And, I'm just going to bring him on right now. Oh, also, by the way, he's the only guest I think we've had so far who happens to be in the Guinness Book of World Records. He's my friend, Mega Ran.
Hey, what's going on, buddy?
So, hey, we're all just going to have a good time here, but I want to know, explain the whole Guinness Book of World Records situation. That is fascinating to me.
Okay, it's kind of weird. It's a very specific award. What they decided to do was give me an award. Wait, let me read it right now. It is a certificate for the most songs to reference a single video game franchise. So, my favorite video game, as you would imagine, is Mega Man. So I do a bunch of remixes over time. They have they have at least 15, 20 Mega Man games. And so for each one, I've done a remix or some sort of thing too. And one day the Guinness calls me and like, hey, you have a record kind of like by a long shot. And I'm like, really? And they're like, yeah. So they invited me out to their office in London. We did a really cool ceremony and it was great, but a very specific record. So like, I don't know. I mean, it's a thing. That's all I can say.
So that's intriguing. So it wasn't that you were going for the record. You didn't even have any clue there was a record for songs about a video game franchise.
No, I mean, who would do that? But apparently they have a gaming episode, like a gaming issue of the Guinness Book. And I think for that is where they go through very specific records about video games. So yeah, that's where that came from.
For the record, how many songs about Mega Man have you created?
Oh, all right. 130.
Oh, you had to double check?
Yeah, it's a lot. It's probably more since then, but hold on, let me get this for you.
Okay.
My wife put it on the wall. So
got the merchandise in the Firefly Funhouse.
Here it is.
Wow.
Bam. All right. Now I got to figure out how to put that back, and she's going to kill me.
Congratulations. Oh, who's in second place? That's what I'd like to. Who'd be in second place in the Guinness Book of World Records?
I don't know. In this case, second place is first loser. It's not important. But now they have a number to aim for. So I kind of hate that puts a number on there, and that's like a target on my back. So every year I look like, all right, how many Legend of Zelda songs are there? How many Super Mario songs are there? And I got to keep this thing.
All right. Well, are you ready to play the game, gentlemen?
Yes.
Let's play the game.
All right. So we're going to have 3 rounds. Each round has a topic, and you're going to decide what your answer is going to be, and you're going to give an argument. And everyone at home that's watching live, I want you to vote on what you think the best argument is. Yes, you could possibly agree with their answer, but we really want the best argument. So as soon as all 3 individuals are finished, you're going to get your votes in, and then we're going to move on. And the winner will not only get a bragging rights platform at the end of the show, but if you so choose, just like Brendan Williams, you will get your face on the wall, which is that's a priceless gift. So, first round. Speaking of video games, we already know Mega Ran's answer on this one, I think. So he's going to go third. What is the most fun you've ever had with a video game, and why do you think that specific game should be ranked above everything else?
Who are you throwing that to?
I'm going to throw it to you, Ranky.
Okay, since I spoke up. You know the one game, I'm going to go, as I called you a boomer earlier, the most enjoyable game I ever had was Baseball Stars that came with the old NES system. And it was so good because you had to build your own squad. And there was a team of all-stars that had like Babe Ruth and Pete Rose and players like that you couldn't beat with your just average expansion team. So you always had to play the lovely ladies and go through this excruciating process of constantly beating this team because they brought in the most money. So you would get the most money when you won these games, and over like decades, you would build. I still have an NES just for Baseball Stars for a team that I've been working on since I was like 7 or 8 years, probably like actually more closer to 12 years old. And just keep it going and everything like that, which was always my thing. Like I have like multiple teams. I was like Paul Brown. Eventually one team got to be so good. I'm like, screw it. I'm going to start another. Although, can I tell you one quick story?
Please.
I got to tell you this. So when I was a kid, we had the NES. My dad, Navy guy, he would always go to bed early. I would go to bed. My mom was nocturnal. And one night she came running into my room. She woke me up. She's like, you got to get up. You got to get up. And, you know, we're living in California. I'm thinking like, is there an earthquake? No. She had just solved Super Mario Brothers and had to wake me up at 2:30 in the morning to show me. And this was the rule in our house. One time I'm playing it, and you know how you jump from level 1 to level 4? She walked up to the machine, reset it, and said, nobody in this house jumps levels. You do all 8 levels or nothing, or just 6 levels. You do all 6 or nothing, or you don't play at all. So that, I don't know. I just had to throw that in there. I had to give her
I imagine that's the kind of parenting you're going to use with your 2 young children right now.
No punting on 4th down is already a rule established in this house when we're playing Madden.
Oh, man. Baseball Stars, what a choice. Oh, I forgot about that game. All right, next.
That's a good game. Good call there, Frank. That's a good one.
Big Money Manny.
All right. Let me tell you why my game is better than Super Nintendo Baseball Jabronis, okay? a game that nobody under 30 knows about. Let me explain to you why Metal Gear Solid 3 is the greatest game of all time. Now, you may know Metal Gear Solid. It is a tactical espionage action, a third-person action stealth game. And I feel that Metal Gear Solid 3 is the best entrant into the series. It introduced perhaps the most ambitious story mode. It has incredible graphics. The art style is great. And most importantly, in your Super Nintendo baseball game, you can perhaps one day become a baseball player of your own and do all the things you can do in that video game. However, you cannot venture into the jungle, donning camouflage, sneaking your way through a base of heavily armed guards, going on to defeat a man who can psychokinetically control bees. That can't happen. And it is for that reason that Metal Gear Solid 3 is an incredible game. It is wish fulfillment to the up-teeth degree in being a super spy. Also, you can play the entire game without killing a single person. So it is pacifist, it is peaceful, you can tranquilize and knock people out, and then the game gives you an item to encourage replayability for your next playthrough. So in my opinion, that is the greatest game of all time.
Yeah, I've never played the game, and I know you're not surprised. That was a brilliant description.
Thank you. It is a game near and dear to my heart. I played it when I was 12. It was the first time I saw cleavage in a video game, and it changed my life.
Okay. What game system, by the way?
PlayStation 2.
Okay, perfect. Wow. Good argument so far. Mega Ran, what do you think?
Wow, those are great. So you might think, oh, I'm going to say a Mega Man game.
Yes,
I'm
I
actually not. The greatest game of all time is a game that I've played probably every year of my life. And if I ever see it, I have to play it. It's been released on every system from probably NES on. And I just literally played it last night on Switch. I'm talking about Tetris. Okay.
Wow.
Tetris, greatest of all time. This is a game that no matter what, it's always fun. You know the rules, you know how to play. You don't have to explain to anybody. Metal Gear Solid had a story that completely baffled my young mind, especially by 3. I was like, wait, is he old? Is he dead? Is he young? I don't know what's going on here. I gotta say, I think that it's Tetris by far, and I love Baseball Stars. Super, super great game. But come on. I think Tetris is forever. It's eternal. It's going to outlive all of us. And there's a reason for that, because it's the greatest game ever.
Well, according to Manny, Metal Gear Solid 3 is also forever.
Yeah.
I don't know. But see, I love Metal Gear Solid 1 and I like 2. I think by 3, I started getting confused in the story. But I don't know. They got to remake those games for them to be like good again, because I don't think they really aged well,
I think you have a point in that Tetris is completely ageless. Doesn't matter what period of time, people will enjoy Tetris no matter what.
All right, well, you guys made great choices because the live chat is very torn right now. So I want you to get your votes in. Is it going to be Baseball Stars from Adam Rank, or Metal Gear Solid 3 from Mansoor, or Tetris by Mega Ran? Get the votes in. So far, it looks like Mansoor is in the lead.
Oh,
that was a compelling argument. That was really good. That was well
I
done.
even forgot stuff. Like somebody commented, so there's a boss fight. It's just an old guy. That's it. He's just an old ass guy, super geriatric dude. And in the whole game, he gets rolled around in a wheelchair. And then when you go to his boss stage, he's a sniper, right? So he's lying in the grass. And in this game, you can fight him. You can outsnipe him. True. Or you could wait a full week, play the game, and find out he died of old age. Thus completely skipping the boss fight. I mean, if you can find that kind of technology in any other game.
And I'll be honest, I love the idea
of being... Can I say one thing in my favor, though? Because in Baseball Stars, if you remember, Johnny, you make your own players. Like eventually you create players, whatever. Teenage Rank, at one point, because this was around the time that Ken Griffey and Ken Griffey Jr. were playing, I made an Adam Rank Jr., I made a Wedge Rank, and right now I have a son, and his name is not Wedge because my wife is super cool, but not that cool, but pretty close. I was so close to fulfilling that dream.
I wish your son would be named Wedge.
I tell people that. There's actually a subreddit somewhere, because I tweeted out one time that like my son's name was Wedge, and people are like, that's pretty cool. And you're like, I don't want to ruin it for you. Yes, it's Wedge as far as you know.
If your name is Wedge Rank, I think you're destined for a AAA career at least.
Oh, you know what? You can do a number of different things, because like to surfers, they think of the wedge break in Newport Beach. If you're a golfing guy, you think of, he's got a solid short game. Yeah. Star Wars fans, obviously a wedge breaker. It hits a lot of different denominations. So it has something for everyone.
So what you're saying is his middle name is Wedge.
Yes, as far as you know.
Well,
I'm trying to get Wedge over.
The winner of round 1, all 3 compelling arguments, but one slightly stood above the rest. That would be Mansoor.
Yeah!
That's really good.
Next to my close personal friend, Brennan. I'll be sitting right there on your wall forever, Johnny.
He gets 100 points. Round 2. So we're obviously, Adam, we were talking about football. But there have been a lot of entertaining athletes over the course of the world. So to you guys, who do you believe is the most entertaining athlete of any generation? They could be living, they could be dead, they could be from a totally different generation. Maybe you've never even seen them in person or on television. Who do you think is the most entertaining athlete, whether it be outlandish, hilarious, controversial? And this time around, I'm going to go with Mega Ran first.
Ooh, all right. Well, I am very biased in this one. As Johnny knows, I'm from Philadelphia. Same. And as a sports fan growing up in Philly, there's only been one. Well, we've had a lot of polarizing athletes in our day.
Practice.
In Philadelphia. Some of the most electric and electrifying performers. I mean, John Kruk. I mean, we've had so many. But my pick is the one, the only, the round mound of rebound.
Oh my gosh.
The I am not a role model, the Chuckster, the Chuck Wagon. I'm talking Charles Barkley, number 1 of all time. Now think about the transition he's made. No one probably in this chat or anyone has even seen him play, but yet he's had a Hall of Fame career, and you still know exactly who he is. I even have a shirt right here showing my love for Charles Barkley.
And explain how you got that shirt.
I bought this shirt. What? You didn't give it to me.
No, but you asked me. I was wearing it in a photo. You go, where'd you get that shirt? And I sent you the link.
He did. Johnny told me where to get it. So anything like throwback Philly, I'm all about it. Barkley, not only being a 6'4" power forward, if you know anything about basketball, it's impossible to lead the league in rebounding, to run up and down the floor, to be an MVP, to do so many things undersized, and transition so greatly into journalism. A freaking 250-pounder from Auburn, Alabama is now an award-winning journalist. That's all I got to say. Charles Barkley.
Great argument. I'm going to go next to Mansoor.
My favorite athlete, you may have heard of him. He's a legend in professional wrestling.
Oh, my God.
The man was a cornerstone of the New World Order, one of the greatest stables of all time. And I'm pretty sure he's done some other sports too. His name is Dennis Rodman.
Whoa!
Now, Dennis Rodman has done
incredible
incredible things in sports. He tapped out Hulk Hogan, which is truly a feat on its own. And he is close personal friends with a legitimate authoritarian dictator of a foreign country. I don't know how many people can say that. And just some of the stories I've heard that we have heard from Dennis Rodman, including how he met Mr. Kim Jong-un. If I may relay what he has said, he was playing a basketball game and they ushered him up to sit in front of a desk. There were 22,000 North Koreans all standing up in front of the desk clapping. It was loud clapping and they're cheering for me and I'm thinking they were doing it for me. So I wave and someone tells me, no, that's for him, and points at Kim Jong-un. They sit there, they talk about basketball, and then the next thing he knows, they're having dinner, they're drunk as shit. He starts singing karaoke, and then an 18-piece girl band comes out and they start playing one song, the theme from Dallas. So anyone who's experienced that, in my opinion, is the GOAT.
I'm speechless because the story alone, the theme from Dallas is what threw me off.
Right.
I don't even know what that is.
That's actually so old. I've never seen an episode. But Ranky, that was a show that had a big mystery at the end, like a cliffhanger. Who shot someone?
JR.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
JR.
Oh my God, who shot JR? My
JR.
God, he's been shot. I've been shot. God damn it. This on here, we unleashed a slobber knocker. I swear it's the King, Jerry Lawler.
Oh, man. What choices we got?
That was the worst JR impersonation of all time. But
yeah, that's all right. You can make up for it with.
Yeah, I'm going to go. Well, I'm going to stick with something that I know, and I'm going to go with a football player. This guy was a decent college football player. He played at the University of Miami, but then he went on to be known as The Rock, Dwayne The Rock Johnson. And listen, we could talk about his wrestling. His wrestling alone stands by itself. But the other day, I was sitting there. I pulled out my phone. I made my daughter watch his rock concert from Sacramento. And my daughter, she's 4 years old. She goes, why is Maui singing that song? And that's the thing. My daughter knows him as Maui. This guy has crossed over. He was the best wrestler of all time. He makes some of the best movies of all time. Have you ever seen San Andreas? Amazing. And not only that, I went to go see Skyscraper. And I said, listen, I don't want to let the greatness of San Andreas kind of cloud my judgment here. I want Skyscraper to stand on its own. And I believe this to this day. If you have not seen Skyscraper, drop everything you're doing after the show and go watch it. And I will say this, and I will argue this to the death. If I ever get to ask The Rock one question, I want to know, the prosthetic leg, was that in the script or was that your choice? Because I believe it's The Rock's choice. And he brought that nuance to the character. And not only that, so you think he dominates there, he dominates in the movies, and then he makes perhaps the greatest TV show of all time, Ballers. They took an idea that was Entourage, and we're like, no, we're going to bring in The Rock and people who are actually cool. And it was the greatest show that I've ever seen. There is nothing that this man cannot do. He has something for everybody of all ages. There is no denying, in my heart of hearts, The Rock the most entertaining athlete of all time.
Not to mention, out of these three, arguably by far the most handsome, you would think.
Easily.
Yeah.
Debatable.
So there is that. Wow. And you mentioned The Rock. Was the prosthetic leg his choice? Rank, brilliant artists make brilliant choices. So
I feel that was him.
yeah.
He had to make that choice. I know it served a plot point, not to spoil anything, but the prosthetic leg does come into play later in the movie. But again, I don't want to spoil anything. And by the way, the best news is that there's a San Andreas 2 that's in, I don't know if it's in pre-production, post-production. So look forward to that. By the way, the end of that movie, when they're looking around and San Francisco's devastated and that little English kid looks at him and he's like, what do we do now? And he's just like, we rebuild. American flag. Oh my gosh. The entertainment value.
That's kind of like in Walking Tall when he just beat up everyone in the casino. It made me feel really powerful.
Felt those feels. Was that Academy Award nominated? I don't remember.
I mean, I'm just assuming. I don't watch the Academy Awards, so I'm just assuming that was the case.
It's all politics anyway,
Yeah. At least the Golden Globe.
The votes are in. I mean, I'm very impartial to Charles Barkley. Dennis Rodman, as we're watching on The Last Dance, I mean, he took a vacation to go to Vegas.
Oh, he's wearing the class of 47 hat as well.
Newport Beach.
A bar I'm sure you're familiar with.
I've been there 3 or 4 times.
Yeah, I've been there once.
It's nothing special.
I hung out at Cassidy's, and even I find the class of 47 disgusting. That's a joke that probably nobody gets, but I felt I needed to say it anyways.
Well, do you remember when Rodman used to own a nightclub in Newport Beach?
Oh, my God, yeah.
And it got shut down?
Oh, yeah. He used to come by. I don't want to – I just spoiled that it was Cassidy's, but I knew the bartenders, and they would close the doors and everything. And like periodically, every once in a while, Rodman would try to come in after hours, see that people were in there, and try to get in. We're like, yeah, no. Even me as a huge sports mark, I was not. I'm like, should we let in Rod? Everybody's like, no, do not let that guy in.
You had to live. All right, well, this is a close one, but by a narrow margin, Adam Rank wins round 2.
Love it.
So round 3 is worth more than just 100 points. Round 3 is worth 200. So Rand, if you win this round, you win the whole.
Oh my gosh.
Nice. It's like double Jeopardy. Or Final Jeopardy.
I'm making up points. Rank and Manny are tied at 100, and Mega Ran. Actually, no. Round 3 is 100 again. We'll keep it equal.
There's got to be like a sudden death.
Yeah, if there's a sudden death, one. But round 3. So obviously, we all grew up watching professional wrestling. We all love it. And entrance music has often become synonymous with icons of the wrestling industry. So to you, what entrance song of a superstar means the most to you and why? It could be any generation you want. It could be now. It could be decades ago. Who would like to go first in this round?
Okay.
Manny's ready.
Listen up.
Oh, boy.
There's a man.
I feel like Manny was on the debate team in high school.
There was a man who was so feared by the professional wrestling community. I mean, they've made an episode about him and his exploits in Dark Side of the Ring because truly he embodies the dark side of the ring.
Uh-oh.
This man, as part of Extreme Championship Wrestling, truly embodied the nature of Extreme. His name is New Jack.
Oh, wow.
And when you hear that gunshot and Dr. Dre and Ice Cube and the Natural Born Killer starts playing and New Jack comes out with a friggin' shopping cart full of random shit that he's going to throw at people, you know shit's going down. And this is why it's the best song. Not only because it plays the entire segment, which essentially carries the soundtrack for the ass kicking that you're about to see, but the lyrics of the song itself actually tells the story of New Jack. Journey with me into the mind of a maniac.
Okay.
Essentially, by watching New Jack perform in his art in stomping heads and throwing chairs at people, you are journeying into his mind. Doomed to be a killer since I came out the nutsack, I can indeed confirm that upon New Jack's father's ejaculation, he was destined to be a killer. I'm in a murderous mind state with a heart full of terror. Now, this is interesting because it shows a little bit of softness in New Jack.
Keep in mind, these aren't New Jack's lyrics. This is Ice Cube.
Right, but I mean, they wrote it for New Jack. I mean, that's not confirmed, but I'm pretty sure.
Did they?
Did they?
I see the devil in the mirror. New Jack knows that he is evil, but he doesn't care because he loves hurting people so much. It's a perfect song for entrance, for wrestling entrance music, and it's my pick.
We got a comment from Hall of Famer Brendan Williams. He's ready to vote Danny. Well, who wants to follow that?
I'll follow that. I'm not afraid of that because first of all, I like what he was saying, but when we were thinking about this, you did give us the topics ahead of time, but I was trying to think of some of the most iconic music of all time. I think of the Macho Man and the Pomp and Circus. But for years, when I was a child, I didn't realize. I always wondered, why are they playing the Macho Man's music at graduations? It wasn't until later that I realized, oh, okay, it's the other way around. Still doesn't make quite as much sense. I was thinking about some of the indie darlings, and I know people are like, Cult of Personality. No. Bryan Danielson's The Final Countdown was actually the song that if you are a true indie fan, when you hear that, when you see Europe or anything like who sees Europe outside of a Geico commercial, but you think of Bryan Danielson, that is one that you think of. You think of that somebody mentioned here in the chat, and this actually is making me change because I wanted to say NWO for a second. I mean NWO B Team because I think of like Conan and Scott Norton and how there was a Jimi Hendrix song. It's a Hey Joe. It's in a little jazzier version of Hey Joe. But no. The thing is, because you said New Jack, I think of because I know some kid also was like, oh, the glass shattering for Stone Cold. You know where Stone Cold got that? Like the whole thing, his whole persona. It came from ECW, yes, Extreme Championship Wrestling. And every time that I hear Metallica's Enter Sandman, I think of the Sandman at the top of ECW arena, slamming beers, hitting himself in the head. That was the true original right there. This is a band. Metallica is one of the greatest bands of all time, but your song has been so hijacked by a professional wrestler that I can't even think of that band. I can only think of the Sandman walking through those crowds, walking into Philadelphia or the Manhattan Center or wherever he was. The Sandman took it to another level. Stone Cold Steve Austin is the person who said, that sounds like a good idea. I will do that. But the original, the creator, was the Sandman.
Well, your argument was so good. I honestly don't know if you chose Europe or Metallica. So
I'm going with the Sandman is who I'm going to go with.
I thought you had me at Europe. Okay, Metallica.
I could have had. There was a number of great options, and if I lose, I lose. But I just wanted to give some shout outs and try to get my indie cred up as I'm clout chasing and all that stuff. So that's where I'm heading.
You could say that Sandman and his song essentially influenced the ushering of the Attitude Era. In that sense, it's incredibly influential.
For sure.
Oh yeah. I'm glad you mentioned that the history lesson for kids that Sandman, Stone Cold was basically the Sandman, and that was huge for me as an ECW fan. But there is only one theme that has struck fear in the hearts of opponents for over 25 years.
Oh boy,
I'm talking about the one, the only, the man, 21 straight victories at WrestleMania.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking Mean Mark Callis. I'm talking about the man who's been digging holes and taking souls for 30 years. When you hear the gong, you know it's on. Forever. That gong hits, doesn't matter. 8 to 80, you are standing up and you are popping no matter what. It doesn't matter if it was 1988 or 2088. If you hear that gong, you know it's on.
While we're at it, give us an Undertaker memory that really stands out to you.
To me, I think my favorite, of course, is the Shawn Michaels match at WrestleMania. I feel like that one was just like the most emotion. I think that was the first time I really thought like, yo, he's going to lose. Streak's over. And he just kind of kept coming back and Shawn Michaels. And, oh, man, it was just such a great match. I think it's some of their best work for both of them. But I got so many Undertaker memories from I'm old enough to remember when he debuted and how just like chilling and scary everything was I'm not as impressed these days, but but I think longevity and just the legacy of that theme and then that's the slow, deliberate walks to the ring, of deliberate, slow, and the choking, and the choke slam, the tombstone. I mean, just like so many cool things that have come from one man, The Undertaker. Undertaker. And Paul Bear.
I love Paul Bear. All right, so we have Big Money Manny with Natural Born Killers for New Jack. We have Adam Rank with Enter Sandman for Metallica. And, of course, Mega Ran just went with just
Graveyard Symphony.
Best in me.
Unless you mean Rollin' by Limp Bizkit.
Right.
so Undertaker is so polarized.
Undertaker.
American Badass.
And he's voting for The Undertaker. That's amazing. All right, so wow, a lot of votes coming in. This is a tough one. It really is.
What are your thoughts? I think I got it, guys. We are going to overtime. We're going to overtime.
I mean, all three of your arguments were amazing, but the votes are coming in here, whether it be, the Graveyard Symphony or it be even Limp Bizkit. If people want to vote, they're voting Undertaker.
Oh,
right.
Stop it.
Cheers to you, smart folks.
Which means Mega Ran ties it up. So we got to go to sudden death overtime. I'm going to throw a topic out, and we're just going to come up with one on the spot, come up with an answer on the spot. Obviously, you're all very funny individuals. Let's talk about film. What's your favorite comedy of all time?
Did you not just hear me talk about San Andreas? It was hilarious. Just spent 5 minutes on San Andreas, and now
all right. So I'm going to mark that down. San Andreas with
no. That's not accurate. It goes back to whether we're looking further back in history or anything like that. But for me, and it's kind of a recent one, so it's probably a little bit of recency bias. But during this quarantine, you've been able to go back and watch some films and everything, and you're like, oh, this is really good. I don't know why, but Wedding Crashers always appeals to me. I think that Vince Vaughn is hilarious. I think of movies that are quotable and just have like dumb little quirks that like hot read, like the thing that you'll just be shouting to your friends that you don't remember where it was from. You're like, why are you calling me Bubba Ganoush? You're like, oh yeah, that's right, from Wedding Crashers. And to me, it was one of the most entertaining. And I know that people will look at Vince Vaughn's career and be like, well, Swingers was great. I'm like, no. He really hit his stride. That was his WrestleMania 18 moment, or whatever you want to say about it. I think that was peak Vince Vaughn. Owen Wilson crushing it as well. So if I had to pick one, I would probably go with Wedding Crashers.
I got to be honest, because I lived in LA for so long and maybe I related to it, I found Swingers horribly depressing.
Yes. way too on the nose. I think for anybody who's outside of it, you're like, oh, that's amusing. You're like, no, that's too much. That's too close to home. And I grew up in the town outside of Anaheim. So when they put him down, like, you're not from here, you're from Anaheim. Like, that hit way too close to home.
Yes, it did. All right, Wedding Crashers, great choice. Who wants to go next, Mega Ran or Mansoor?
I'm going to go with arguably the funniest movie of all time. A movie about someplace warm. I'm talking about Aspen.
Okay.
I'm talking about
Hot Dog the movie?
The funniest movie of all time. The movie that told us that John Denver was full of shit. The movie that told us that when you're from Austria, you put another shrimp on the Barbie.
Our birds' heads are falling off.
We got no food. We got no money. Our pets' heads are falling off. The funniest movie of all time, which I still quote to this day, the original Dumb and Dumber. Bam. Stamp it. Double stamp. Triple stamp it.
Woo. That is a great choice. It's a legendary comedy. Now, Manny, this is the most nervous I've seen you throughout the broadcast.
I like to be prepared. I don't like to be surprised.
You prepare very, very well, but you have a theater degree. You know how to improv. Yes, and you come up with something.
Yes, and John. Yes, and that yes, and that and will be my pick for not the greatest comedy movie of all time.
Okay.
Not even a good comedy movie in any time whatsoever, but it is the most significant comedy movie of all time. A comedy movie that essentially ended a century. It ended a millennia and ultimately killed the comedy movie for good. We have never seen a comedy movie ever do as well as they used to because of this movie. And that movie is Tom Green's magnum opus, Freddy Got Fingered.
Oh my God.
Now, there is a sort of je ne sais quoi about Freddy Got Fingered that allows you to take a look at this movie as a piece of historical reference. This is not a flick. This is not a movie. This is pure, unfiltered kinography, as the Germans like to say. And if I may add one more thing, it has also got a very funny name because fingering. Haha. Yes. That's my pick. Freddy Got Fingered. And no, I've never watched it.
I will give you this. One of my favorite quotes from, I've seen that movie more times than I probably should care to admit. At one point, his dad has a surprise for him, and he walks out, and it's a Chrysler LeBaron. And in a brilliant response, Tom Green just says, "It's a LeBaron." And I find it so funny.
He's like, Tom Green is like, I don't even know what to say. Like, I used to watch his internet show where people would call in. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Where people would troll him and like he would go insane and put pencils in his mouth and go, "Gentlemen, gentlemen." Do you know what I'm talking about?
No, I've actually
Tom
done
Green show?
stand-up a handful of times with Tom when he first got back into the game a while back. He's a very nice guy, and he was still doing the talk show. Yeah.
I think he's like fourth dimensional good in the sense that if you look, like you need a 60 IQ or a 600 IQ to find Tom Green funny. Nothing in between.
They have never seen. What made you think Freddy Got Fingered without ever seeing it?
I don't know. It's a funny name.
It's hilarious. It is legendary. Like it is funny. Like you stumbled upon that. Yes.
What's funny is I know more about Freddy Got Fingered despite having seen Biodome.
Oh my God. I was just about to say that when I lose this, I was going to ask if I would have won if I would have picked Biodome. I was debating between that and In the Army now. And I'm like,
I've seen Biodome. I can't tell you a single thing about it besides they're in a biodome. So.
They're in a biodome. That's all you need to know. I saw Biodome in the theater.
Wow. Someone said Spaceballs, which is probably my second pick.
And while you mentioned Biodome, I'll throw out a Major Payne reference because why not?
Major.
Wow.
I also considered The Pest with John Leguizamo.
Of course.
Another classic.
Of course.
All right, so right now it looks like it's between Wedding Crashers and Freddy. Believe it.
Oh my God.
What?
Well, here's the thing. It's not necessarily about what the best film is. It's about the best argument. And so Manny's knows how to argue. Let's be honest.
That's true. The nose knows.
All right, well. And we got another vote for Spaceballs. It's not available.
Spaceballs is not an option.
Not an option.
Hey, do you have ranch dressing? Did I mention ranch dressing? No. Who is that? That's a comics line.
All right, so unfortunately, we have to eliminate Dumb and Dumber.
No.
Judging, it's very, very close.
By the way, I was I don't want to say this before the votes are counted, but Dumb and Dumber, you know what, of those, I liked Kingpin better. I don't know. I know they're not like the same movie.
Great.
Okay.
I feel like Kingpin doesn't get enough love. I know everybody loves Dumb and Dumber. I'm like, Kingpin was amazing. And like the Tony Hawk Pro Skater, it also featured the Goldfinger classic Superman in it.
Yes.
So I just don't think that it gets enough recognition when people are talking about the best movies, especially of the 90s.
We've been talking about Superman so many times today since they just announced that Tony Hawk coming back. I was like, Superman, I got to go listen to it.
Yeah, Pro Skater.
Have you seen if you go to Goldfinger's Twitter handle, they've been doing these quarantine videos and they've done all their hits, the Here in Your Bedroom, the 99 Left Balloons cover and everything. My daughter, again, the 4-year-old who loves Maui, she's now into Goldfinger. And I'm like, yeah. So it's like, now you're listening to, I know what you're listening to what I think is cool music. I know that Manny's like, who the hell is Goldfinger outside of the video game?
That's the game. Oh, yeah.
That's it. But that's it. Like, I've actually seen Goldfinger in concert. Like, it's that kind of stuff.
Well, I got to tell you, I'm counting the votes up. It's equal right now. So
oh, no.
I think for the first time in history, we're going to have two winners. And I'll go to Walgreens and print both your heads out for the win.
Oh my God!
Can you give us like a Two-Face from Batman gimmick going on where
You know,
it's
wait,
like
no.
Oh, the
Before the
Two-Face.
show started, Manny and I bonded over this T-shirt. I think you should put our faces on it
Mhm.
and
Okay.
recreate this.
I have plenty of
I
time.
do like that idea.
Well, our winners are Mansoor and Adam Rank, but of course, Mega Ran, you're a winner just for being a part of the panel.
Aw, thank you. Good job, you guys. Good job.
Thank
Well,
you,
way to
sir.
go, everyone. Thank you guys
Thank
for
you.
voting and being in the live chat. So to close out, I just want to get one quick story from all three of you guys because all three of your careers are fascinating. So it could be anything from your career. Feel free to throw it out. Mansoor, I'll go with you.
I've told this story before, but in case you haven't heard it, I was in Saudi Arabia for Super Showdown. I was in the biggest, grandest battle royal, 51 dudes. And before my match, I got to take a tinkle. So the year before that, I was in the same venue, and they told us, go to that bathroom over there, because all the talent is not going to that bathroom, because we were trying out. So I go to the exact same bathroom, and I go in the stall, and it's one of those automatic toilets where it flushes automatically, and you don't know what's triggering it, so it keeps flushing and flushing over and over, and you're like, shit, like, God, this is so annoying. And then I walk out, and who is there to my right but Shane McMahon, the son of the owner of WWE, Vince McMahon. And Shane looks at me, he's got a shirt off, he's got his bag in front of him, he's looking at me like this. And I'm like, God damn, he probably thinks I took a monster shit because it flushed like 15 times. So he probably thinks like I'm just trying to jam that down there. So I'm like, I'm not going to shake his hand because, you know, I just went to the bathroom. So I'm like, hey, man. He's like, hey. I will start washing my hands. And then I go to get a towel and it's out of towels. So I'm like, well, now I'm not going to shake Shane's hand because my hands are wet. So
Right.
I'm like, all right. And then I go to leave the bathroom and Shane goes, whoa, hold on a second. Who are you? I'm like, oh shit. I'm like, Mansoor. And he's like, cool, I'm Shane. Nice to meet you. I'm like, nice to meet you. And I walk out of there like, damn, like, what a horrible way to meet somebody. And then I go back to that same bathroom where it's 3 stalls and a little like waiting area on the side. And to the left of the door to enter the bathroom, there's a piece of paper that got put up after I left that says, Shane McMahon's private locker room.
No.
Oh!
So I guess it looks like I maybe took a monster dump in his private locker.
Oh no!
Yeah.
Well, at least you won the Battle Royal. Mega Ran!
Dude, I won, yeah.
You won. Nice. Oh my gosh. Okay, so this is a story I haven't told because I somehow figured out how to get out of it at the time. All right, so I'm doing a show. I think it's in Baltimore. I never forget. I'm backstage, and I think just like all of you, I'm sure, right before you got to perform, you get those nerves, those jitters, and I usually got to go pee or I got to go poop. So I go handle my business, do my thing, come out. I'm hitting the stage. And I'm running late because they had already announced my name while I'm like washing my hands, like Mega Red. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. So then I'm running. I go up the stairs and I almost trip, but I don't. But I had to extend my legs a lot to get up the next step. And I ripped my pants completely in the center. And I'm like, oh. So this is like right before the curtain. So the curtain's here. I'm ripped here. And I'm like, oh, boy. So I just go on stage. And so we get the show going and I'm moving around. And no one notices. No one says anything. I don't notice it. I don't think it's visible. Everything seems to be fine. So at the very end, I do like 2 encores. For some reason, a really, really great show that I'm doing 2 encores. At the end of the night, I'm just so emotional. So I'm just like, guys, I just thank you so much for being here. You know, let's bring everybody out from the back. So we bring out all the openers. Everybody comes out, and we do this like stage theater thing where we all like raise each other's hands and like, you know, do the whole bow thing. And at that particular moment, I guess the rip was like getting bigger. So by that time, when I bend down, my pants fall completely down. So and I'm like, nobody saw this. And I'm just like, so like I'm holding the guy's hands that are next to me. So I'm like, stop, get off me, you know, and like trying to get so I'm down way longer than everybody else. And I got him up. I don't think anybody noticed it. I don't know. No one still said anything to me. So if anyone was at that Baltimore show, thanks for not making it awkward.
Out to Baltimore. All right, Rank, what do you got?
Oh my gosh, I'm debating on if I want to do a Mark story, if I want to do an NFL story. I'll do the NFL story. So when I started off at the NFL Network, we go into the makeup room. We're going to do one of our hits, and I'm with another one of my coworkers, one of my co-stars, and we go into the locker room. There's a former player. He's I won't say who it is. He's a Hall of Famer, and my coworker's all excited to meet him. He's like, "Oh my gosh, my name's Michael," and he goes to shake his hand, and the player looks at him, and he's like, "No, man, swine flu." Like, won't shake his hand. And I'm like, okay, this is already going super well. So I'm like, I don't even acknowledge him, and I just sit there. And so Michael has a huge watch on his arm, and he's sitting there and he's looking at it, and so he goes, so that's big watch. And I go, yeah, it's so big, Flavor Flav would wear it around his neck. And he goes, what the hell is that supposed to mean? And I'm like, because Flavor Flav, like wears a clock.
Very
what is that? They're so different. What are you trying to say? Like, is this like how all black people are? I'm like, yeah, that's it. You caught me. I was trying to make a racist joke based on the size of his watch. And this guy had worked there for a while. And there were a number of times where he, I've had like, he was kind of weird. He could be super nice. He could be super like weird at the same time. And one time they were in the green room. We were watching a ESPN broadcast of the NBA on TNT or whatever it was, the NBA on ESPN. Bruce Bowen was on there. And so I was sitting there and I'm watching it, and these two guys started having a debate. And so this one player was having a debate with another former player about where Bruce Bowen went to college. And he's like, and so they were saying, and the guy was like, oh, he played at Fresno State, I think. And I, again, because I'm an idiot, I chimed in. And I'm like, yeah, he went to Cal State Fullerton. And he looks at me and goes, how the hell you know that? And I'm like, well, because when I was in school at Cal State Fullerton and he was in class with me, I just had the inkling that he was going there. And so one of the guys, just the other player, the guy who was on my side was Michael Irvin, started laughing. He's like, oh, Rank, you got him. And he's like, and Michael Irvin's grabbing my arm now that I feel like he's going to break it. You got him. He went to school with them. And then another former player left the room chagrined. And yeah, that's what I got. I've almost had my arm broken multiple times, by the way, by Michael Irvin. And you've got to be very careful because he's a great dude, but he's very passionate about things. So one time I remember telling him, we were at a summit meeting or whatever. And so I don't know why. I think I had a couple of drinks. And I'm like, hey, Michael, like how great was Jay Novacek? Just trying to like be chummy with him. And he would grab my arm like, Adam, let me tell you something. And he's got my arm like this. He's like, there was Troy. There was me. But Jay Novacek, when it was 3rd and 8, that's where we went. And like, I'm like, okay, I will never ask that question again. No, I will just be right over here. But yes.
I want to have 1/3 of the zest for life that Michael Irvin exhibited.
He's the best. No. He was not the watch guy, by the way. The person in question is no longer with the network.
Okay, so
you'll be able to figure it out.
Go ahead, throw it in the comments. Who is it? No, I'm just kidding.
I'm sure it's not that hard to figure out. He's no longer with the network. Who you think it would be, it probably is.
Fair enough. Well, thank you to everyone for joining me. Adam Rank, how can people find you? What would you like to promote? Go right ahead.
Oh, thank you so much. You can find me on Twitter at Adam Rank or on Instagram at Adam Rank NFL. And are we streaming this on YouTube?
Sure are.
Sick. I got a YouTube channel as well, Adam Rank NFL. It's growing. You can come mock all my predictions and everything like that. And I welcome it.
And Mr. Mega Ran, how about yourself?
Hey, so I'm at Mega Ran on Twitter. There's Mega_Ran on Instagram. When you squeeze it together, though, it looks like Meg Ryan. If you're not careful, it's not. So yeah, I've heard that before. I'm about to actually go stream right now on Twitch and do a DJ set. So I'm on twitch.tv/Mega_Ran. Come through. I do live concerts every Wednesday. And yeah, that's what I do.
And of course, your newest album is the Dewey Decibel System.
Dewey Decibel System with MC Lars. It's an album all about books. And it's out now on Spotify. Go grab that.
Brilliant. Mr. Al Shahail.
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram at KSA Manny. Oh my God. And that's my dad on the right there. Yeah. Oh, my family. Yeah, it's my dad with the mustache on the right. That was
Yeah,
really special.
That's awesome.
And if you have a Twitter, delete it.
Yeah, you're not a Twitter guy at all.
No, I hate it. I hope it sinks and crashes and burns down.
With that said, thank you all for joining us. And also, if you want to donate to Regular Hero, streamlabs.com/Johnny LaQuasto. And we're going to donate 100% of proceeds to charity. And thank you to every single person who joined us in the live chat. We're going to do another episode real soon. But thank you, Mansoor. Thank you, Megaran. Thank you, Adam Rank. And thank you to everyone for watching. See you next time.